What is going on here with 828? This is Crossbeats production, and thank you once again for tuning in. So I want to share with you a compression technique that will pretty much cut you off at the knees, just like this guy on Battlefield. Anyway, it's not going to cut you off at the knees. Hopefully it won't do anything like that. So pretty much the technique is supposed to help you get your kick to sit right with the rest of your instruments, and that's what I want to show you in this particular mix that I've got going on. So first off, let me just show you the track and play that to you, and then hopefully you guys can see and get a tip from this track and see what I've done here as well. So let's play the track right now. Okay, so that's the track there. I want to show you a tip that I use on my kick and how I got the kick to sit right with the track and what I normally would do in instances like this as well. So first off, let me just show you Impact XT so I can explain a little bit of what's going on here, and then I'll get to the compression side of the kick as well, and we'll talk about that as well. So first off, I got the rack kick, which you'll hear here, and you can see that some of the kick is being cut off. So when it's actually using and playing the kick, I'm using this amp envelope to actually go a little bit forward on the kick, so it's not actually getting the first part of the transient. That's one thing I've done to reduce some of the actual first part of the kick, so it actually sits right on the track. That didn't fix the problem though altogether, so it's not what you want to do all the time either. It worked on this kick, so it may not work on your kick. This is definitely a good thing for a technique on electronic sort of music though. It helps you adjust certain things, so it delays the kick as well. The other thing I want to show you is why I'm doing this is because on this bass instrument, as you can see here, this is the bass in blue. I'll just zoom in a bit more. So you can see there's no real quiet part on this bass. So the only way to avoid having impact with the kick hitting when the bass is actually playing as well is to reduce some of the transient on the kick. You'll notice that a lot of things that happen with Metro booming tracks, he actually has either a delayed kick or no kick at all, and he has his transient going on with his 808. But I want to have a bit of a kick here, so I had to delay it a little bit with the amp envelope. So first off, as you saw there with Impact, the amp envelope is delayed a little bit. That's creating that bit of delay on here. So let's play that. You can see it cuts it about there. So it's just that little bit part of the kick that I let go on that. The next thing I did then as well is in the compression techniques. So let's go into the compressor. First off, I'll turn the compressor off, and then I'll turn it on, and we'll just show you the difference between the two. So have a listen to this, and I'll show you the kick without it and then with it on. So as you notice, when the compressor was off and when it was on, especially when it was off, you could hear the kick and the bass kind of sounded muddy. And it's not that there was too much of the other, one or the other, I should say, but it definitely didn't sound like it was clean and cohesive. So the thing that this compressor is actually doing, and it's kind of counterintuitive because you wouldn't think to put a fast attack on a compressor on a kick, but that's not exactly what I've done here. So I've used the compressor to engage where the transient first hits. This compressor, because of the way it's set up, and most compressors don't act like a limiter, but This compressor I've got set as high as I could go on the ratio, so 30:1, and I've pushed it all the way to the far as it can go to the left, which is, you know, less than it's 0.1 0.10 milliseconds. And then I've got the release set at 48 milliseconds, which is to the BPM of the track. The reason why I'm using 48, and I'll just showed you guys this before as well, is on this site here, which is basically a delay reverb calculator or a delay calculator. You can get your reverb delays and decays and all that sort of stuff on this by calculating your BPM. So I've got 156. Then I've put this as 48 milliseconds, which is a 132 note. I've used that on my compressor. So I've got 48 milliseconds here, and the fastest it will go on the compressor. Now have a listen, have a listen and look at this meter as well whilst I play the track. Cool. Now, I had sidechain going on as well, and I could say, you know, say for example, if I wanted to just put sidechain on there and hope for the best, you could do that. But hang on, just give me one sec. But I'd be cutting myself off at my knees if, or I'd be cutting the other guy off at his knees, just like that battlefield shot that I showed you earlier. If I didn't do other things than just the sidechain. So I've got sidechain happening here, and it's actually reducing a fair bit of the 808 out of the way to put the kick into place. But even that, it's not doing enough. Like, I'll just turn off this neutron here, and we'll put the sidechain on, and we'll show you what that's going on. So some people just leave it at that and think that that's probably enough, and it probably wouldn't be too bad. Your beat's not going to sound terrible, but just let me turn this compressor on here and show you that. So you can actually hear that what's happening with what I want to occur is happening. So I've got the bass out of the way, I've got the kick filling the place, and the kick's being pushed down on the sustain just a little bit. So the decay is actually being pushed out of the way, so it levels the kick in the right place and allows everything to sit in unison. Can this be done with the standard compressor? Yes, it can. Standard compressor is pretty much just as good as any other compressor that you'll find. It's actually a really good versatile compressor. So I've used it all the way at 20:1. It doesn't go to 30:1 obviously, but the way you adjust that is then just change your knee all the way down here, so to the left, and that adjusts that so it's really steep. It acts sort of like a limiter then. You've got look ahead, which it allows the compressor to look ahead to see what transients are coming into it so that it can adjust right on time with the transient and actually hit it at the right time. Again, as fast as I could go, so 0.10 milliseconds, so 0.10. And then I've got 48.1. I can't adjust it exactly, but that's as close as I could get. And let's have a listen to that. We'll just make sure the other one's disengaged. There it is. Let's go. I found that I didn't really need a whole lot of compression. That was minus 2.3. And on the neutron, I think it was a little bit more than that. I think that was mainly because of the way that this look ahead function is working though, whereas Neutron doesn't have that exact thing of look ahead like that other plugin does. But Neutron sounds a little bit different as well. The compressor just sounds different, and each compressor will sound different the way you use it and the way they work. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this tip, and hopefully you guys get something out of it so you know that your tracks can sound right, everything can sound cohesive. Sidechains is one feature, then using compression on your kick is another. I've done this exact same thing with my snare as well. So that's the EQ that's going on the snare. And then I've got this going with the same kind of thing. So let me play that, show you what's going on. Got it. So same sort of ideals going there. It's reducing some of the volume, taking out some of the transient, but allowing it to sit in the mix how I want it to. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. The other tip that I want to also share with you is leveling as well. So leveling is really key to anything before you ever put any EQ or compression on it. So before I did any of this, I wanted to get the levels right. So as you can see here, there's a lot of things going on with the faders here, and I pulled down the kick quite a bit. I didn't need that kick to be really loud. I know when you first start mixing and listening to tracks, it feels like their kicks are really, really loud and they sound prominent in the mix. But once things are controlled and the things in your mix are controlled, you don't need to have these instruments to be really, really loud. Now, if you just look on the level meter, just disable that, and we'll just put a level meter on here. Let's go to the level meter. Let's have a look at the level meter and see what levels we're going to get. We'll just make this a little bit higher, and we'll just zoom into this and we'll see what levels we get going on with that kick just on its own. So let's play the kick. All right, so that's -3, and that's with all of this limiting happening. So we'll just take off that limiter and see where it's sitting without the limiter. I mean, you can see that's -15.7. That's really low in volume. And then when I have the limiter going on and all the other stuff, I've just got this SSL, which I'll review that as well. The Duendo SSL compressor. But anyway, even without that, that's not making up any level. Literally, I've got that at -5, -0.5 dB. So that's not making up level. It's actually just compressing a little bit for me. But, you know, with this limiter on, you can see it's then hitting -3. That's peak level. So that's a tip, you know, don't have everything really loud. It doesn't need to be really loud. I see a lot of people do the mistakes where they throw these things like right up in the mix. They mix everything else really loud as well. And they find themselves in trouble because everything just sounds too loud. Like you need to get the levels right. So levels are really key to getting a good mix. It doesn't matter what DAW you're in. If you work in Studio One or Pro Tools or Logic or wherever it is, Ableton, wherever you're looking at, get the levels right before you put any EQ on this stuff. And then once you've got the levels, so your stagnant levels, then you can start introducing certain things like, you know, techniques that I've shown you here with the compressor and stuff like that. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Hope you liked it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Remember to subscribe and like this channel. All that good stuff, like the video, I should say, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.